right, you guys, so let me run inside because I picked out some beautiful plants there, but I have a few things I may or may not use in these containers, you know, with my inventory that I already have on hand. So let me run in, get those plants. Some vinca minor, some roses, and some cordylines. And water these containers in real quick. I'm getting ready to transition my front garden bed from my spring display and ease it right on into my summer display. I'm going to first start by tackling the planters that flank the entryway, and then from there we'll move on to the next area. I have a menagerie of things that I need to get done in this area, but I'm going to just knock them out in this video one by one, with hopes that at the end of the video this area will at least start to look like it has some life in it. There's a lot of different things blooming or starting to, they're budded up. They have their very beginning blooms on the different shrubs in this area. First thing I want to do is head on over and fill up my front fountain because I can hear it humming from here. So you guys, let's knock that out first and then we'll move on to the containers. It has this beautiful birch tree that drops these seeds like literally everywhere. They're everywhere. They're all on my front pathway. They're on top of our cars, but it's just a part of the game. So I am going to go in a little bit and just knock some of this stuff out real quick, and then we'll fill her up. You guys see how the water is like overflowing here and none of the water is coming out of the spouts? So I'm gonna have to just go in really quick and just knock all of these spouts out real quick and just brush them through, and then that way the water will level out and then it'll start to flow down. I'm just going to spray this off. Going to put this on, set this here, spray the top of it off. And see, you'll have plants that'll start to germinate on the inside of your fountain pump if you have a nearby tree that drops seeds everywhere. So sometimes you got to come in and take it apart. And just snap it back in. I'm just going to go in and connect this back to the hose that comes up all the way out of the bottom, and then we'll move on to the next item. As you put it in there, water's going to start to jump out, so you know it's good now. And let me go ahead and connect this. I already got water on the first level, the second level, and now the third. Ready to go in, and we're going to plant up these containers, and then we have 2 more containers that we're also going to knock out in this area as well to get the vibe going. Yes, honey. Are given life and that more abundantly. So let's go ahead, get in and get a closer look and dissect what these containers look like. But I know some of you guys may say, why are you putting such large plants in those containers? That's just what I do. That's how I have always gardened. I have standard hydrangea trees that have literally been in the same pot for years upon years upon years upon years, and they perform beautifully every single season. So if you look at this, these hydrangeas here have a lot of space, as well as the annuals, because they are vigorous annuals. They have the opportunity to come down and just stretch right on down, make themselves at home, just stretch out, just take over these containers as they see fit, because we have all of this space here for the containers to continue to grow. But let's get in, take a good look, and then we'll move on to the next pair of containers. We have a Monrovia True Fescue Blue right here. We have a Proven Winners Lemon Coral Sedum. We have a Snow Princess Lobularia. We have another Proven Winners Lemon Coral Sedum. And then our thriller in this container is an Endless Summer Hydrangea, and this variety is Bloomstruck. You can change the color of the blooms even in a container and also in the landscape, and actually you'll have a more controlled color if you're doing it in a container, because you can really manipulate the soil pH. Quick tip: when you're purchasing your hydrangeas, this is about the state that you want your hydrangeas to be in, or more along these lines. You really don't want them to be in this state, because I'm actually going to come in and cut all of these big blue blooms off. This is a reblooming hydrangea, and we are definitely going to get our money's worth from the show this season. Now that you guys have seen these containers, we've knocked the fountain out, we've knocked the entryway containers out. Now let's water them in and move on to the next pair of containers. I know y'all didn't think I was just coming with 2 pair of containers now. everything blown out and it's looking a lot better, you guys. You guys got to see what this looks like. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to plant up everything, the next 2 pair of containers. I mean, the area just looks so much better with just coming in and just adding just a little bit of to my front entryway. Even if I didn't come in and add anything else to these containers, the area would still be amazing. So let me give you guys a quick view so you guys can see what I'm looking at. Like, especially like standing right here, when I tell you the art of layering, I think I may have mastered it. Well, I'm not going to say mastered, because you can always grow in areas. But if I stand right here and I look at on, baby, when I tell you the layers is speaking, the layers are speaking. Let me show you guys what I'm looking at. Let me throw this away real quick. Let's go ahead and start planting up these containers right here. So it's a pair of 2 of these containers. So I'm just going to come in and just slightly just rough this up just a tad bit. I want to make sure I'm not really disturbing the roots. So now I have some soil that's workable, so I can get my annuals down in here. Going to come in and get all of these different weeds and stuff up. So Frieza must have gotten left outside in the sunroom, and so she got into the soil. So I'm just going to add a little bit of soil back. In order for me to get a vigorous show like I'm going to want with my super petunias, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to give all of these plants a haircut. And I'm basically just going in and I'm just cutting these. And I know for some people it may be hard to watch this. So all I'm doing is just coming in and I'm cutting these out. That's all I'm doing. Because we don't want leggy growth. That's the last thing we want. And if it means that I'm cutting off these blooms, it really doesn't matter. And cut all of this off. Just a little light haircut. Anything that's leggy. Super Petunia Vista Bubblegum. I grow this every year in my garden. Lemon Coral Sedum, Snow Princess, Alyssum, Super Petunia Royal Velvet. Imagine when all of this blooms out, like how it's going to look just walking up to the door. This is going to be beautiful. Now that I have my containers done at my entryway, now that I have the other 2 containers done as well, I want to come in and add a little bit more annual color in this area. But first things first, I need to go in and remove the old tulips that were in this area. I'll give you guys a reminder so you guys can see what those beautiful tulips look like. Now, go in and remove the old bulbs. Now look at that nice rich compost. Now we'll drop our annuals. We'll go ahead and set them out in place. So this is going to come out. This is going to fill in real nice and lovely, and it's going to look like just a big bouquet. And then I added some Snow Princess, Super Tunia Royal Velvet, Super Tunia Vista Bubblegum, and it's in an alternating pattern. I was actually trying to see if this grass was going to wake up. This grass is a zone 5. I'm a zone 6B. In order to overwinter a plant over in a container, you need to go find plants that's 2 zones below, or just do annuals, one and done, wham bam, thank you ma'am. So I'm gonna dig this out, and then I'm gonna put something more suitable in these containers, and I think you guys are gonna like our centerpiece. I'm gonna go ahead and get this grass out of here real quick. So let me show you guys the beautiful centerpieces for these 2 containers right here. Look at that. Look at these beautiful lollipops. I love evergreen topiary, and let's scoot back a little bit so you guys can see it in its full form. So you guys, doesn't this make a difference? It's a blue point juniper, and I love evergreens, but I really love that blue color. This container right here is on a concrete pad. Now, the other one I did not put on a concrete pad because I was actually going back and forth with last season if I were going to have these out here just for a season, but I kept them out here all season long, so I did not do the other one. I know, but now I like them being right here, and I actually think I might pull the other 2 out and place them somewhere in the garden as well. So we're going to put down this we're going to put down the pad, and then we're going to start planting these babies up. I moved into a little bit more light. Now it's getting dark outside. It's about 8 o'clock at night. Those are the plants that we're going to use. It gives me time to sleep on it and actually decide if that's the way I want to go. I'm really not sure about the dahlias. And then we will pick this back up in the morning over coffee. Good morning. Yesterday we started the process with planting up our beautiful containers. But as I started thinking about it overnight, I didn't know if I wanted to go with more of a part shade variety or if I wanted to go full sun to part sun. But I'm really leaning towards having that shade right there. I am going to go more with the full sun or a part sun type of plant up. And then if I don't like it, you can always change it. And that's the thing about container gardening. If you don't like it, you can literally take those plants, move those plants somewhere else. I love the mobility of container gardening, but I did change out a lot of the plants, okay? Now, let's go over here and take a look at this real quick. What I'm going to do, I'm changing everything, okay? I got those planters planted up, I started thinking that I really was not a fan of having like the empty space on the side, and I'll show you guys that. So I ran over to see what plants I already had out of my current inventory, and I think that area is needing a little bit of white. So let's go over and look at it, and it's between the Snow Princess, or we can use the Super Bean or Whiteout. They're both going to be great selections. So let's go over there and see how they both look. Flower here. This one is not in flower yet, which is not uncommon. It's still early in the season. So this is this flower right here. Okay, that's that flower. And then the Snow Princess is kind of like a angelic flower. It'll flower out a lot more. It's in between like a flush of bloom. It has like its lobes. I do kind of like the Snow Princess because, you know, I use the diamond mounted snow behind it, but I do like the airiness. I like the texture in this one. So I think I'm gonna go with the verbena. This looks a lot better now. This Sweet Caroline is going to start to drape down. It's going to mound up a little bit, and then it's going to drape down. And of course, the Super Tunia mound up, then drape. Same thing with the verbena. And then we have our Invincible Wee White Hydrangea that's going to get a nice size. Probably fill in about this much of the container. And then it'll have the beautiful hydrangea blooms that we all love. You guys a sneak peek at some concrete pieces. I'm going to go ahead and get the concrete pieces into play, and then we'll talk about them. I hope you guys were able to see the detailing on these concrete pieces, and I can't wait to get these planted up. Outside working on my patio, trying to get that area ready, trying to move it from the spring vibe that I had going on that's now fading away, and just transition it just slowly but yet beautifully into the summer vibe and just set the mood. My husband came outside and let me know that it was supposed to rain, right? So at the same time, I checked the forecast. I don't remember seeing anything about rain, but since he told me that it's getting ready to rain, I do have to run over and just pick up some things from the nursery real quick. I mean, I am getting ready to start just checking things out. You guys, it is almost June and I don't have one area completely done in my garden. It's so many areas that I need to transition, so it is literally go time with planting. I cannot wait to show you guys these beautiful roses. You guys have been asking about an update on my Eden roses, and oh my word, you guys are going to just drop your jaws when you see these beautiful roses, honey. Yes, I almost forgot my keys. Let's go, y'all, because it's already changing. Like you see, we have sun, it's changing. Let's go ahead and get to the nursery and get what we need. So now that I have that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and just start clearing off my patio. That way I can go ahead and just start with a blank slate, and then I'll know which direction I'm going to go in. I already have my plant selection for this area. The vibe that I'm going for will definitely make sense in this area as soon as you see how I have the containers planted up, and I can't wait for you guys to see the beautiful plants. So let me go ahead and start moving these pots off of here. Now, in the springtime, I had a luxurious display on my patio. It was literally flowers just popping everywhere you look. There was a flower. The containers that I'm getting ready to move now was the end of my spring display, and baby, when I tell you, it was an amazing show. It was just so amazing and angelic, and I enjoyed every single moment of it. And I'll go ahead and pop a picture up so you guys can see how it was popping, like just on point. But it just came from just planning and making sure I had my color scheme together, and that's one of the things that I love to do in my garden. So let's go ahead and move these out of the way. So now I have all of the old plants out of there from my spring display. And so what I like to do is I'll go back in and I'll top dress this area with fresh soil. A lot of people ask, where did I get this scooper from? So with my soils, my fertilizer, I like to use scoopers. I got this off of Amazon, and I'll try to link this down below in my description box if I can find it. It was very inexpensive. I have them in metal, and I also have them in plastic as well. And I find that they come in handy, and they cut down on the mess when you're outside working in your garden. Alright, so I got my fresh soil in. Now I'm going to go in and add a little bit of biotone. So I got my biotone in, and I also am going to come in with some Proven Winter Slow Release Fertilizer. And I'm just going to sprinkle this on the top. Like so. Now this is a very large container, and I'm just going to mix this in slowly but surely and gently. You want to wear gloves, and actually the directions tell you that you should have gloves on, so you really shouldn't be using this without gloves on, you know, to give yourself a protective barrier. Okay, so we are a little bit root bound here, and since I have the gloves on, I'm just going in and just roughing up these roots really quick. Really liking the cohesiveness of how everything is flowing together. So let me go ahead and show you guys, give you guys just a quick glimpse shot of how this area looks. Let me give you guys a close-up real quick. We have a whirlwind white scavola, a whirlwind blue scavola, and a super tunia royal velvet. I mean, look at this, like the deep purple color is just so royal. Like, they really picked a good name for that. So this is going to mound up and then drape down the side. So I wanted my complementing containers to be very simple because I have a lot going on. All right, so if you look and you see how everything is just really just blending in, nothing's competing, and she's looking at that bird. Let me go get her, because it's a nest in there. Come on, mama. Come on. Good girl. Leave that bird alone. Out of here. You leave that little bird alone. You hear me, mama? Leave it alone. Okay? Bye. Leave that bird alone. Since Penelope knows that it is a bird's nest in there, there was one bird's nest. They moved out, this bird moved in. So what I'm going to have to do is create some type of protection, because I can literally see her trying to climb up in my planter. So I'm going to go ahead and create some type of barrier system, and I have just the solution to do it. It's not going to mess up my show. It's actually going to make it look a little bit cuter. So let's go ahead and get this cleaned off, and then we'll move on to the next setup. And then, you guys, we're going to have to hurry up because it's supposed to be raining, but I gotta show you guys these beautiful roses because they are looking amazing. The climbing roses are looking amazing. So let's go ahead and just blow. I'm going to blow off this patio real quick. let's go get the other one. I have the other container in place. Before I put this one over there, what I'm going to do is I am going to elevate the one in the back. That way I can play with the levels a little bit, and it adds a little bit of interest versus it just being the same size container just rounding about in that area. So I'm going to lift one up, leave one down, and then these two will more than likely stay on the same level. I'm also going to go in and add some other smaller pots the same color to give us a more visual aspect and to add a little bit of texture, because all of those pots are the same exact pot. So we want to break those textures up so it makes it more appealing to the eye. So I have one planter here and one on the other side. So first, let's get in. Let's look at these blooms. Let's get in and look at the leaves, because when you look at the leaves, hunty, the leaves are just disrespectful. And I hope the color is really coming through the lens like it's coming through my eyes, because baby, it is gorgeous. I mean, look at this beautiful Monrovia Eden rose. I just love it, and I see how the blooms start to emerge. They're even beautiful as well. I mean, who wouldn't want 1, 2, or even 20 of these beauties in a garden? So I showed you the beauty. Now let me show you the bad. These are coming from sawfly. So if you look at that, you look at the foliage here, you can see that this is what we're going to be working on today. And then I'm also going to train this beauty. I'm going to get in here and I'm going to clip off this rubber band. Just tying these, and I am going to clip a little bit. The rose tied up the way that I want it to be. I'm going to go in and I'm going to cut back some of the dead wood. Now, the reason why I'm cutting out some of this wood is because I want to open this up. I live in the St. Louis region where there's a lot of humidity in my region. Training this climbing rose, I have the ties put on loosely. This is going to allow airflow to move in and out throughout my plant. So let me go ahead and prune off what I don't want. Let's get rid of these. That's why I said training is a good word. Now you see this lateral cane. Actually, this is a main cane right here, but it's going in this direction. Now if I were to train this on the fence, this would be perfect, because I could bring it back, hook it into my loops or whatever I have to secure it here. But that's not what I'm doing. So in this scenario, I'm actually going to go in and I'm going to cut this main cane off all the way down to the base. Now, as my canes start to grow up here, I'll start to train them to grow over this beautiful arbor that I have provided for these roses to adorn and just take over as they see fit. Cut this all the way back, and so this is the progress that we have here, and then from there we'll water this baby in. So let's give it a cut all the way at the base. I'm going to be doing some garden cleanup. I'm getting ready to get my garden ready for my summer display. Now, in order to do that, I have to go in and remove all the remnants of spring, because I had a beautiful spring display. But now it's time to move forward into summertime and get this area just prepped up and I'm going to bring you guys along with me as I do that. I want to go in and I want to plant up these beautiful containers, and then I have some other containers that I'm going to swap out, and I think you guys are going to love it. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in and I'm going to swap out these containers. Yes, they have to go. They serve their purpose for this season, but now it's time to swap these containers out. So let me go ahead and get ready and start pulling the underplantings out. They were beautiful, they served their purpose, but now it's time to head on into summer because I am so excited about my summer display. I've had everything planned out from every plant that I was going to feature in my garden this season, and that has been done since the winter time. You guys are going to love the beautiful plants that we're going to be planting up in today's video. The first thing that I'm going to do, I am going to add just a little bit more soil here. Now I came in, I added fresh, beautiful soil, so I'm using the Espoma brand soil here. So I want to make sure I'm able to give my plants a little bit of height. I don't want them to be too deep down inside of the containers, and I also don't want them to be too high. So when I come in and I water my plants, I don't have soil spilling over the side of it. But you want to make sure you have the correct height. So I am going to top this off with just a little bit more soil. I'm just going to add a few more scoops. Maybe one more. Alright, so this is about the level where I want it to be. I'm coming in with my Proven Winner slow release fertilizer like I always do. And I'm just going to work this into the surface because you want it to actually make contact with the roots. Okay? So, slow release fertilizer feeds up to 6 months, but I do come in sometimes about that 8-week mark and top dress with just a little bit of the slow release fertilizer. Now, as it starts to warm up, it's going to start to feed my plants, and I'm going to get a luxurious show, and I cannot wait. Now, I have this obelisk here. Now, this obelisk is actually the same obelisk, but just a larger size of the obelisk that I have planted up on my window box. So this is actually going to serve as my thriller. So these containers are going to be bumped up against my central air unit right here. So what I want to do is, that leaves me this area in here to have free reign and plant as I see fit. I'm going to get the other container set up, add a little bit more soil, slow release fertilizer, and then we'll start planting. Now, I got a lot of questions about where I got these obelisks from, because actually there is a third layer too. So I had a small, medium, and large, and what I did was I bought 2 of them. I cannot recall the exact location, but I want to say that I got these obelisks from Sandy's back porch. I could be wrong. I'm going to try to look through my pictures on my cell phone to see, because a lot of times I will document where I get stuff from. I might take pictures, but a lot of times when I'm out of town visiting, I've had these for quite some time. So that's why it's kind of like jogging my memory where I actually got these from. Then I'm going to stick this down in here, and then here is my area where I'm going to be planting up here on this container. All right, so I think these are straight in here. Let me see. Okay, plant was a little bit root bound. It's definitely ready to come out of this can. So let's talk about these containers and the plants that I have in them. There is a purple fountain grass in this container, but it's going to have time to grow up a little bit. In the meantime, the serendipity allium will be the main star until the purple fountain grass grows up, and it'll take center stage. Can you imagine, you guys, later on in the season, the purple fountain grass just bursting out of these obelisks? I can't wait for the show, and I'll definitely be updating you guys in videos to come. When you're creating a beautiful area, you want the look to be very cohesive. I have a lot of repeating patterns from the containers as well as the colors. It makes a cohesive look throughout the whole entire patio. And I'll continue as I add plants, I'll continue to go along with that same color scheme, because one of the things that you don't want to do is add a plant that does not flow with your space. Let's go ahead and add some color to the lion fountain area. I'm done putting those annuals inside of those containers. Now, I must say, I'm very excited about the vision that I have for that area. This area is going to bring all of the drama. It's going to be packed with class and sassiness, and I'm so excited about it. So I'm going to go in and scrub this container up really quick. Each container, I'm going to go in and add a little bit of mesh. Here, place a coffee filter in the bottom, and so that's just going to help me a little bit more. I went in and I've completely drained the bottom tier of my fountain. I'm not going to drain the upper tiers. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spray out the bottom level, and then as that water cycles through, that water will then clear out and everything will be 100% crystal clear. How I have always done my fountains in my garden. So the reason why I'm coming in and clearing out the bottom is because it has quite a bit of algae, which is to be expected because that is the area where the pump is sitting at. And so since that's where the pump is, that's where you will more than likely see the majority of the gunk in the fountain. Now that I have that done, I'm going to go ahead, spray out the bottom and add a little bit more water to the bottom of the fountain. Once I add that water, I'm going to remove that out with the pump, and then we'll go ahead and start filling up the fountain. Okay, so we have everything out of the bottom of the fountain. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just fill up this bottom part of the fountain, put the algaecide in there, and by the time the end of the video is done, the fountain should be running clear. So this is algaecide and clarifier, and it calls that you use these for fountains, tabletops, bird bath, and water gardens. Containers that I planted up are planted up exactly the same. They have a combination and a flow and a color scheme to me that screams summer. Now, in my last video, I went in and I set the scene and the stage for the colors in this area here. So one of the things that I practice and I preach so much is cohesion, cohesion, cohesion. Everything should just be married together. The colors should blend together effortlessly in order to give you a beautiful look. And sometimes by going with less is more and using the same kind of flow and color palette, you'll have a show like never before. And cleaned out the fountain. The other 4 tiers, I did not remove the water. That's how I always do it. I attack the bottom level, and basically once I put my algaecide and my water clarifier in there, it's going to suck everything back to the pump into one big clump, and I can just walk in the next morning, pick the clump out, and then everything is fine. Did not have to go in and take the pump apart. That part was okay, but as you guys can see, if we get in close and we look at this, crystal clear, and the water is going to be clear as ever. I think everything goes together really nice, but one of the things that I think that took this arrangement over the top is I went in and I added a beautiful pair of obelisks, round obelisks, to the top of these containers. Now in this container here, it sits off, it flanks the entryway, and I like how I have my structure here. And so I came in, I added these earlier in the season to bring structure, to let you know this is the way that you enter into my garden. And then we follow that down here because I have a lot of blooms going on. You have the hydrangeas along the back side of the wall and it shapes around. We're just now getting started. We are just now getting warmed up. One of the things that I can do all day long, do you hear me? All day long is plant up a container. Mix container arrangements together. Once everything flows out, I want these containers to just perform, 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 perform. And I like how the pops of color in this area just really just screams. I will say I am very excited to share with you guys just the different things that I'm going to be adding. moving in and out of this area. I cannot wait until this area just is completely done and I don't have to worry about it. I got a few more things that I need to do in this area, and then it will be wrapped up for the season. We're gonna refresh the area. We're gonna plant up some containers. But first, we're gonna harvest some strawberries. Let's get to it. All right, so here's our first container with strawberries in it. Let's go in and see what strawberries we have. I already see some strawberries right here, but let's go in and see how many more we can find.
Monnaie.
The containers that we're going to plant up, but before we do that, I want to go in and I want to level up these two pedestals. So the one on the right looks great, but the one on the left is leaning a little bit. So let's go in. Let me actually show you guys from a different angle what I'm talking about, and you can kind of see that it's leaning. All right, so if you see that container right there, you see how it's kind of like leaning to the side? That's what we want to go in and fix. So we're going to level that up, and then we're going to start planting. Now that we got that done, let's run in and check on the strawberries really quick. and finish planting up the other 2 containers. Doesn't this look so much better? So we went in, we removed the old pillows. I like the colors. I like the colors, the way that they go together. They're very calm. They're not demanding in this area because we have quite a bit of color going on. So what I did was I came in with classic tan and navy blue and white. You cannot go wrong when you use classic colors. So I used that, and then if we get in and we look at our containers here, so we have some beautiful plants in these containers. Come on, you guys, you know how I do it. Come on in, let's get close up. Let's look at these plants, let's dissect them, because I try to always do containers that are different. I try to think outside of the box, and most importantly, I try to let my own personality shine through with my containers. So let's get in and look at it, because baby, I love container gardening. Container gardening is my jam. So you guys, let's get on in here. Let's look at this container. So you guys may be thinking that I went mad because I used the fern and I put it into full sun. But this fern is made for the sun, hence the name Sun Queen. So I love the texture, I love the variation, and to give everything a cohesive look, the colors fit in this area. You can see the flow of this area. Now for this container right here, I kept it very simple. I went in and I used just 1 plant. That's all it needed. The container has a lot of detail, so it really doesn't need much up top competing with the understory. So we let the container, the pot itself, actually take the lead and tell the story in this area. It's so beautiful and it draws you in. So I went in and I also switched out to a bigger table. Now I love my little table in this area, but in order to have your good girlfriends over and to kiki and ha and just have a really good time and enjoy one another, honey, you need some space on the table. So what I did was I went ahead and I popped it out, and then I put in this beautiful table here. Now this table is distressed. We'll get in, we'll look at it, and I'm thinking that everything went along well.